one receiver, by the way. If you have trouble with them, I don't want to hear a word about the Steelers being in the conversation of being a legit Super Bowl contender that could potentially knock off the likes of a Kansas City Chiefs or somebody like that. No. You got to handle your business against an RG3 in order to be in that kind of conversation. That's where I'm at with it, Max.
Let me channel my inner Stephen A. Okay, ready for
That's
this?
That's impossible for you.
You are being very disrespectful, Stephen A. Smith. Okay. You are being very disrespectful to the Baltimore Ravens and to this rivalry. This is Steelers-Ravens, brother. They are going into this season. They played 44 times in this century. The record was 22-22. The point differential, everything down the board, down the line was just about as even as it could possibly be. This is Ravens-Steelers. All bets are off. And by the way, you can read it right there on the screen. When the last time RG3 started a game, it was the last week of last season. Last game of last season. Pittsburgh, Baltimore. Baltimore had everything locked up. Number 1 seed locked up. So they didn't start anybody. Like, Pittsburgh was playing against the Baltimore backups. Now, Pittsburgh didn't have Ben Roethlisberger, but they had everyone else. Baltimore didn't, and they started 30-year-old RG3. See that? Week 17 versus Pittsburgh, under 100 yards passing, 50 rushing yards. What we're not showing is he didn't pass for much better than 50%, 11 out of 21 completions, right? But Baltimore won the game, and they won it by more than 2 touchdowns. It was 28-10. So I understand that Roethlisberger, it's not just like, well, Roethlisberger better be able to make up 18 points. Of course, the offense is at an advantage because the Pittsburgh offense puts them in good field position. I get all that. But Stephen A., they beat them by more than 2 touchdowns with their backups and RG3. So, like, you could say whatever you want about, well, Pittsburgh better do this and Pittsburgh better do that. Even if Roethlisberger puts them in a better position, Pittsburgh is correctly the favorites. By the way, they also playing with a chip on their shoulder because of all the postponements, I'm sure. But to sit here and, as you would say, just summarily dismiss the chances of the Baltimore Ravens with a quarterback who beat this Pittsburgh team the last time he faced them with backups in this kind of rivalry, that's ridiculous. Of course, the Ravens have a chance to win this game.
Well, first of all, it's blasphemous for you to call it ridiculous. I would remind you, Max Kellerman, that since 2016, 4 seasons have taken place, or really 3.5. In that time span, RG3 has thrown 26 passes for 255 yards. 26 passes for 255 yards in the last 4 years. And that dude is supposed to be able to do damage against these Steelers? Please. There's nothing ridiculous about it. There's nothing asinine about it. There's nothing to even think about here. The Steelers the defense should dominate the Baltimore Ravens. Now, if it's a close game or what have you, it should be because the Baltimore Ravens defense was able to hold the Steelers offense in check. That should be the reason. Instead of running the football with James Conner, who I consider to be average, I got Claypool, and I got Washington, and I got Juju Smith-Schuster and Deontay Johnson and the crew. I go 5 wide. I'm Big Ben. I'm flinging the football all over the field. If Baltimore has a way to stop that, God bless them. But as far as I'm concerned, this should be the equivalent of what the Steelers just did to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Something along the lines of like 27-3. If the Baltimore Ravens score a touchdown offensively, the Steelers should be ashamed of themselves. 26 passes in 4 years? Come on, man.
That we're going to get the Steelers and the Ravens today. From Thanksgiving to Sunday to maybe being played yesterday to being played today at 3:40 Eastern. You can see the game on NBC. Guys, the last time we had a Wednesday game in the NFL, you have to go all the way back to 2012. Believe it or not. Believe it or not. In 2012, really? Yes. Let me give you this scenario before we get into why Jay thinks this is another bad spot for Pittsburgh through none of their own doing, but they're just once again the victim of circumstance. But let me take you back to 2012. In 2012 and 2011, after the regular season, Giants won the Super Bowl. Jay's Giants won the Super Bowl. So as you know, when you win the Super Bowl, you traditionally get that Thursday night opener at home. For the most part, you get to host it. Well, that year, the NFL said, let's maximize this. The Giants, Jay's Giants have won the Super Bowl. We're going to open the season Thursday night. The Giants are going to host the Cowboys. America will be watching. Tony Romo is Dallas's quarterback. And then the NFL said, wait a minute. There's something else happening on that Thursday. We want to play the game in 2012. Barack Obama gave a huge speech at the Democratic National Convention as he was running for president one more time, the re-election. And then the NFL said, yeah, you know what? We don't exactly want to do it on that particular date. So they said, we're going to move the game back to Wednesday. If you're wondering, the last game before 2012 that they played on a Wednesday, now you have to go back into the Wayback Machine, 1948. I'm sure we all remember that one. We all remember that 1948 class.
Got a great day planned today. Got the eggnog ready, a little spiced.
Yeah, I was.
Eggnog. Are you not in with the eggnog?
No, I'll have some.
Yeah, because we had the game at 3:45, then the Christmas tree lighting after that. I mean, it's set up for a good day.
I just was trying to figure out, 3:30 kickoff, what do I do? Because I'm stuck in between lunch and dinner. Like, what do I do?
Snack.
Yeah, but them snacks turn into you mess up your dinner. I don't like snacking because it'll mess up your dinner. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I got to kind of figure out what I'm going to do.
We'll find out. Speaking of messed up, Jay's essentially said, look, everybody's talking about Baltimore. Everybody's talking about all the tests. Again, they traveled to Pittsburgh, 2 more positive tests. The Ravens are obviously going to be tested before today's game. That's pretty obvious.
And can you just say that again? 2 more positive tests found out yesterday.
On the road to Pittsburgh.
On the road.
They're going to be tested again before kickoff today. I don't say that lightly, but I mean.
I know there are checks at stake. Why are we trying to force this game?
What do you think about that?
Well, I don't think we need to force the game if there's still an outbreak that's not contained, just for the sake of seeing a team get demolished. And my thing is, I just hate that this is the position that the Steelers are in. Again, I mean, they were in that position with the Titans. Then this game has been pushed back one day. It's been pushed back another day. It's been pushed back another day. It just seems like we're really trying to, squeeze in a square into a circular peg. It doesn't work. I don't know why we're trying to force it, especially it seems like it's a setup for the Steelers, right? I'm just playing devil's advocate here. So you do play the game today. And then you turn around and you have to play the Redskins on Sunday. I know this is typical. Monday. Okay. Typical Thursday, Sunday kind of turnaround. I don't know why we're going to this length to play the game when there are 2 more tests that just came out yesterday that were positive for a team that we were just talking about. Hey, how we contain this is important.
Well, I think that the league, everybody keeps talking about money. They're going to get the money regardless. They're going to get the money because they're going to find a way to play the game. Whether the game is played today or whether it's played in week 18, they're going to figure out. So the money aside, right, it's that they're not going to forfeit the cash flow. They want to play the game so they don't have to have a week 18. They don't want to have to get into the week 18 situation. That's why they're trying to play the game. Now, I'm going to leave it to you as I call you the COVID expert. When 2 more players test positive, and now you are on the road, you land, they test before the game again today. Is there still a period of time that it could be dormant with the rest of the team, even though they've tested them severely over the last several days, Jay?
I mean, that's what I don't know, were they on the plane and then they found out that they were tested for positive, Zubin? I don't know the exact details. So Evan told me in my ear, they found out on the plane that they tested positive. So let's assume that we're we're all traveling, Key. You and I are traveling.
Yeah.
We're with our whole team. You and I found out on the plane, while we're on the plane with our whole teammates,
that we're positive.
How do you quarantine somebody when you're on the plane?
So
how do you do that?
The fact that there's 2 people that are on the plane that test positive, I'm assuming that's kind of how they found out, then I would say that it's highly likely that there's going to be more bodies that test positive that's on that plane in a small, confined space on an hour-plus travel.
Indeed. So what they're going to do essentially, no matter what, is they're going to test before the game. There'll be point-of-care tests. We'll wait to see what the results are. But as for the moment, the game is scheduled to be played today at 3:40 Eastern. Remember, this is essentially from Thursday to Sunday to Tuesday to today. So we'll see what happens.
So if they play the game, and then the test, then all of a sudden